Damon Reeves had carried 1,000 champagne flutes in his life. But never like this. Tonight, he moved between glittering guests at the Stanton Foundation Gala, the kind of $1,000 plate event where the coats cost more than most cars. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen fireworks. A string quartet played Vivaldi in the corner. Everyone wore black and silver, as if they got the memo that wealth had a dress code. Damon? He wore a catering uniform. Black tie, pressed shirt, name tag pinned crooked. He weaved between tables, refilling glasses, delivering tiny lamb skewers, saying yes, ma'am, and of course, sir, as if invisible. And for most people in the room, he was. Except for the ones who chose to notice, and not kindly. "Excuse me," barked a voice behind him. Damon turned, tray in hand. A tall man with salt and pepper hair, probably early 60s, was frowning at him. Beside him, a blonde woman in diamonds was already reaching for her phone. "This waiter has been standing near our table too long," the man said to a nearby security guard. "Is he supposed to be here?" The security guard hesitated. Damon straightened. "Sir, I'm just refilling drinks." Table 6 asked for. "Let me see your credentials," the man cut in. "He's clearly not part of the real staff," the woman said. The security guard took a step forward. "Sir, come with me for a moment." No one looked. No one stepped in. Damon followed the guard quietly. But as they passed the stage, that same stage where the keynote speaker would soon address the entire city, his eyes narrowed slightly. He saw the sign on the podium. Honoring the future of public education. And he smiled. Because that podium? It had his name on it. 4 hours earlier. Backstage, a young assistant was panicking. The keynote speaker just canceled, she whispered into her phone. Their flight got delayed. "What do we do?" On the other end, the director sighed. "Is Reeves there yet?" The assistant blinked. "You mean the scholarship recipient?" "Yes. Damon Reeves. He's supposed to speak anyway. He's the reason this entire foundation exists." "Oh my God, he's here." "I think he's," she looked across the room, "I think he's serving hors d'oeuvres." 3 hours earlier. Damon had arrived early. Too early. He had worn his uniform to avoid attention. It wasn't just habit, it was armor. He was used to being mistaken for the help. Sometimes, it was easier to let them assume. The real reason he was here? He was one of the first graduates of the Stanton Public Scholars Program, a scholarship for low-income, high-achieving students. A program built for kids like him. Kids who worked 2 jobs, cared for siblings, and still made the dean's list. He wasn't just a guest tonight. He was the story. He just hadn't told anyone yet. Back in the present, the security guard looked uneasy. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "We've had complaints." "Complaints," Damon echoed, "for doing my job?" The guard didn't answer. Damon didn't argue. He simply reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. A speech. With the Stanton Foundation seal at the top. The assistant spotted him across the room and sprinted toward them. "Mr. Reeves." "Thank goodness," she gasped. The security guard blinked. "Wait. Reeves?" The blonde woman paled. The man's jaw clenched. The assistant looked between them all. "This is our keynote. He's on stage in 5. Damon looked directly at the man who had accused him. Then calmly said, "I believe I'm on the guest list now." 5 minutes later, the music faded. Lights dimmed. The room settled. And the MC announced, "Please welcome tonight's keynote speaker, Damon Reeves, Stanton Scholar and Harvard Law graduate." The room froze. Damon walked onto the stage. Not with a tray. With truth. Damon Reeves stood at the podium, the stage lights washing over him, his catering uniform still visible beneath the black blazer someone had just handed him backstage. He adjusted the mic. From behind the spotlight, he could see the outlines of wealthy donors, foundation executives, city officials, and corporate sponsors, all frozen in a surreal blend of curiosity and guilt. To many of them, he was still the waiter. But not for long. He took a breath and began. I was 16 the first time someone called me boy in a courtroom. Not because I was in trouble, but because I was trying to help someone who was. My older brother. He'd made a mistake, and I was trying to speak on his behalf. The judge didn't even let me finish. I remember the bailiff tapping my shoulder and saying, "Sit down, boy. This ain't your place." Damon let the pause hang in the air. You could hear nothing but the soft hum of chandeliers and the breath someone held in the front row. I want to thank the Stanton Foundation, he continued, because someone in this room, someone I probably walked past with a tray of shrimp skewers earlier, decided kids like me were worth investing in. I want you to know what your donations have done. Not in numbers. Not in brochures. But in people. He leaned in slightly. I am the child of a mother who cleaned hotel bathrooms for 16 years. I am the brother of a man who still works nights at a shipping dock so I could go to school. I am the boy who used to read court transcripts in a broom closet because the library wouldn't stay open late. And I am the man who graduated Harvard Law, debt-free, because of you. More whispers now. Nods. Even a few claps. But Damon didn't smile yet. He wasn't finished. I debated whether I should tell this next part, he said slowly. But tonight gave me clarity. He scanned the crowd, then locked eyes, purposefully, with the man and woman who had tried to get him removed. They tried to escort me out of this event, he said plainly. Said I didn't belong. Said I looked out of place. Gasps rippled through the room. The man's face turned red. The woman buried hers in her hands. I don't share this to shame them, Damon continued, voice steady. I share it because the work of equity doesn't end with writing a check. Now the applause came, hesitant at first, then growing. And it doesn't end with inviting people into the room, he said. It ends when the people you invite are no longer mistaken for the help. In the wings, the assistant who had found him earlier wiped a tear from her cheek. Behind her, a reporter tapped quietly on their phone, already preparing tomorrow's headline. Damon straightened. This scholarship gave me access. It gave me breath in rooms designed to choke me out. But what I want more, what I need more, is that when the next kid comes through these doors in a uniform you don't expect, you don't just make space. You make way. Thunderous applause now. Some people on their feet. Damon nodded once, stepped back, and left the stage. Backstage, the MC met him with wide eyes. You just changed this entire night. Damon only smiled. I didn't come to change it. I came to finish it. An hour later, the gala buzzed with a different energy. Guests approached him with hesitant smiles, extended hands, words like thank you and I had no idea. Some of it was sincere. Some of it performative. Damon could tell the difference. But none of it mattered more than the two conversations that followed. The first was from a young server named Malik. He approached Damon near the back hallway. Sir, he said, eyes wide. I'm a first-year poli-sci major. I've been bussing tables to pay rent. I didn't know someone like you. I mean. He trailed off, overwhelmed. Damon clapped a hand on his shoulder. Finish what you started, he said. And don't let the uniform fool them. The second conversation was with the man who had called security on him. He approached slowly, glass in hand, face flushed. I didn't know, he stammered. You didn't ask, Damon said simply. There was no malice in his voice. Just truth. Then he turned and walked away. The headlines came fast. Waiter turned keynote speaker leaves gala in shock and awe. From tray to triumph, Harvard grad redefines what belonging looks like. Donors silent after racial profiling at Stanton event. By morning, Damon Reeves's name had gone farther than he ever intended. Social media carried his speech like fire through dry brush. His words were quoted, clipped, shared. Public figures posted about him. Students reached out. Reporters called. Requests flooded in for interviews. He declined most of them. Not out of fear, but focus. Because Damon never gave that speech to be famous. He gave it to be heard. 2 days later, the Stanton Foundation board met for an emergency session. Some donors threatened to withdraw. Others doubled down on their support. But the board chair, a black woman in her 60s named Dr. Laurel McKinney, had the last word. She raised a single sheet of paper. "I helped start this foundation," she said. "And if one man speaking truth is enough to make you uncomfortable, you were never here for the right reasons." Silence. No one dared challenge her. The man who had called security on Damon quietly resigned from the advisory committee the next morning. Meanwhile, Damon returned to the life he had worked for. No entourage. No camera crews. Just purpose. He started his new job as a civil rights attorney 2 weeks after the gala, walking into his modest office carrying a worn leather briefcase and the quiet weight of every voice that had never been allowed a microphone. His first case involved a student being expelled for disruption after reporting racist behavior on campus. He took it personally. And won. Back at Stanton, the foundation did something it had never done before. They created a new initiative, the Damon Reeves Advocacy Fellowship. It was designed for students who worked while in school. Students who didn't have legacy surnames. Who didn't fit the gala's mold. It funded tuition, housing, and stipends for public interest work. Its mission was simple. To support those who don't just enter the room, but change it. A year passed. Then another. The gala returned, but something felt different. Less sparkle, more soul. The guest list had changed. So had the keynote speaker. This time, it was a young woman in a wheelchair, the daughter of a Jamaican immigrant, graduating with a degree in public health. She cited Damon in her speech. "Because of him, I applied," she said. "Because of him, I stayed." Backstage that night, Damon stood in the shadows, clapping. He wasn't speaking. He didn't need to. His presence, quiet, calm, confident, was legacy enough. Later, as guests exited into the cool night air, a man in a wrinkled suit approached him. He was short, nervous, barely 30. "You don't know me," the man said. "But I was a server the night you gave that speech." Damon turned to him, curious. "I applied to law school because of it," he said. "Didn't think I belonged until I saw you up there." Damon didn't respond right away. He just smiled. "Then I guess it worked," he said. That evening, Damon returned home to his apartment, the same one he'd lived in as a law student. He still hadn't upgraded. Still made his own coffee. Still fixed his own leaky sink. Because comfort wasn't his goal. Change was. He opened his laptop and drafted a new speech, one he'd give at an inner-city high school the next week. He titled it, "You belong in every room they told you wasn't yours." Across the city, in offices, in classrooms, in kitchens, people still talked about that one night. The man in the catering uniform. The tray. The spotlight. The silence. The truth. And how a room full of the powerful was reminded, sometimes, the most powerful person isn't the one seated at the table. It's the one who refuses to leave.